All right, Dad, welcome back. Narrowly escaping a win or escaping with a win from LA. Walk-off field goal by Riley Patterson. We're feeling good. 7-2. Ugly game, but what matters most, Will, is getting a dub on the
Facts.
road, a high-powered offense. We got some stuff to talk about, no doubt about it. Hit that subscribe button real quick. End of the day, we're 7-2. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter because we have both seen the Lions lose that game 1,000 times. So it's nice to be on the other end of it for once. What do you think, Will?
I agree, man. It's really nice to see us get on a winning side of a tough game. A bit of a grinder where it was like two heavyweight boxers going back and forth, punch for punch, blow for blow, even knockdown for knockdown. Because I think there was some knockdowns in that game where we had to get up, wipe ourselves off, man, and get back to work. So, yeah, it's good to see us come on the winning end of one of those.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. My anxiety level was through the roof. I was standing and watching the game, pacing back and forth. The dog's a nervous wreck. She's feeding off my energy. Um, I have no fingernails left. Shootout game. Do you think it needed to be a shootout type of game? Because at one point, the Detroit Lions were looking like they were just going to, put their foot on the gas and drive off into the sunset with this game.
I feel like I said it 87 times on our podcast. I truly believe that the Lions are kind of mimicking this team, kind of after the Kansas City Chiefs, a style that our defense is looking to find a way to get a stop at the times that we need them. We're not looking for a defense that's just going to shut other teams down to where we're like going to hold you to 14, 17, 21 points, and then we're going to just etch out, wins that way. I think this is a team that's prepared for shootouts, man, and it's exactly what we saw today. We had to get into a shootout. Like, maybe we can't stop you down in and down out, but can you stop us? And the answer has been no. Pretty much all year when we've had to go get points, we've been able to. So I think that's kind of what this team is about in 2023. Stop us. Or, as the Wolverines would say, bet.
We both, so yesterday we did our pregame show.
Yep.
We both picked the MVPs for the offense. You picked Jared Goff. I picked Amon-Ra St. Brown. Is it fair to say that maybe we were both right?
I honestly would say no.
Because I was right.
I feel like you were right, man.
Wow. Hang on. Can you say that one more time? Just a little
I
bit
surely
slow.
can, man. I tell you all the time, there's no hate in my blood. You were right, man. You were right. Steve from Detroit then what was correct. Amon-Ra played out of his mind. As he always does, man. He just played tough, man. He made some extremely tough catches. The one low ball that he caught and scored a touchdown that he had to pull from the dirt with his fingertips and then run in stride like it was no big deal. I think it goes to show how him catching those 200 and whatever amount of balls every single day. And then the one play that he made in traffic, man, with two guys merging down on him. And don't get me wrong, that was a great throw by Goff, but for him to make that throw, fighting off a defender, in traffic, it was just special, man. What he does is special. My son's actually here today, home from school. And he was talking about St. Brown. He happened to mention, hey man, he's a really good receiver. He's just not the fastest, but he kind of reminds me of Tom Brady in that sense of he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, but he is one of the best.
Absolutely. I would say, Tom Brady, when I think of Tom Brady receivers, he kind of reminds me of like a Wes Welker. Just real shifty, gets open, catches everything, yards after catch machine. And I will say this, Goff tried to hit him on a deep ball today, and it would have been a touchdown. I think it was in the second quarter. Could be wrong on that. And the defensive back just made a really nice play, tipped the ball. Goff was about to drop it right in his breadbasket, easy walk-in touchdown. DB made a play on it, though. But you're right. He's not your typical like Randy Moss type receiver. He's just going to get catches, find weak spots in the zone, and catch everything that hits his hands. Goff also, like you said, Goff, he was your pick yesterday. He quietly had a nice game.
He did
23 of 33, 333 yards. Lots of threes in there. If three's your lucky number, 2 touchdowns, efficient. He moved the ball, made plays when he needed to, read the defense, he really showed out in the second half because we kind of got away from our run game and Jared Goff kind of took over in the second half.
I believe Goff truly showed what he is and what we've been screaming that he is. He's not a game manager. He's better than a game manager, but he's also not Patrick Mahomes. So he's that guy that when you need him to make a play, he can go out and get it done. He's not necessarily going to get it done with his feet, but he can hang around in that pocket a little bit longer and find that extra split second to go out there and make a throw. He'll throw it low and away. He'll throw it high and away. He'll do what he needs to do to not turn the ball over and give us an opportunity to make big plays when we need to.
I think this might have been Goff's best game of the season.
I'd have to go back and watch it, man. But his ability to be able to point the points up, man, and continue to march us down the field every time the Chargers bounce back, because the Chargers didn't go away.
No,
they were here to stay, man.
I kept wishing to God they would just go away, but they didn't. You're right.
Yeah, they found a way to make plays when they needed to as well, man. I think this is another one of those games where it was going to boil down to whoever had the ball last.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't cheer for injuries in NFL games, but when Keenan Allen got hurt, I said, all right, this is probably where the game changes, because I think Herbert just lost his safety blanket. Keenan Allen was having a phenomenal game. He goes out, shoulder type injury. And I thought that was going to be like where the Lions were like, all right, we're going to put this away now. They're already one-dimensional, and their one-dimension top receivers out. Yep. But like you said, they just kept fighting. They hung around, stayed in the game. And it absolutely came down to who had the ball last. Now, I got to ask you, it's going to be a hot topic.
Talk to me.
That 4th down play call on the last drive.
Yeah.
I understand why they did it, because if you get that 1st down, it's over. It's a wrap. If you don't get it, do you think the Chargers go down and score?
Just like we said, I think we would be fools to say anything but yes, because we just said, hey, this was a game to where it was whoever got the ball last. So I think they absolutely go down. If I was a betting man, I would bet on them to go down and figure out a way to get in field goal range and win this game with a last-minute last-second field goal. So, yeah, I do think they do that. But what is this Detroit Lions team about? We're about this offensive line, and it was 4th and 2. And I do understand, before you guys get into the comments and say, we didn't even run the ball, what do you mean, blah, blah, blah. Hey, we still had to have an opportunity for our offensive line to give him the opportunity to be able to hang around the pocket and make a throw. You know what I mean? So, but one of our strongest points of our team is our offensive line. We talk about it. Not 5 Pro Bowlers. We may have 6 Pro Bowlers, Pro Bowl caliber at least. So that's when you can pull the trigger and make that happen. You trust those guys. You trust your quarterback. Why not?
I'm gonna take what you just said, and I'm gonna put a little shine on it real quick, if you don't mind, William.
Do it.
What you just said is spot on. On 4th down, we didn't run the ball, but we did earlier in the game when it was 4th and 6. We ran the ball. So you put that in the Chargers' head. It doesn't matter if you're running or passing, because it's 4th down. You ran it on 4th and 6 earlier. They don't know what you're going to be doing. You might be running the ball. You already planted that seed. So they have to play their base style defense, whatever their game scenario is. And we passed it, picked up the 2 yards. Sam Laporta potty, line up for the field goal, ball game over. So like you said, lean on that offensive line one way or another, because we have the element of surprise. Yeah. The defense didn't know what we were going to be doing there. Hell, I didn't know what we were going to be doing there. Yeah. But kind of a ballsy call. I think it's going to be a hot topic this week. I understand going for it on 4th down, given the way the game was going, just back and forth, shootout. You don't want to give the Chargers the ball with 1 minute and 40 left and any time or any hope to get 30, 40 yards to get in field goal range. Put them out of there, put them to sleep. And I like the call just based on how the game was going.
I did have a little bit of a grievance with how we handled the field goal situation. For one, I was kind of like, man, do we run the ball to get even closer? Which that's not the grievance part. I get why we did not do that. But I did have a grievance with why we didn't run down the clock and then set up and kick the field goal on 3rd down. Because if you have a missed snap or anything goes wrong, you can just take a knee, line up from 4th down, and then try it again. So us going down to it being a 4th down kick, to me, I didn't like that. I wish we would have kicked the field goal on 3rd down just as a safety net. But that would be my only grievance with it.
A warm and fuzzy for Uncle Will.
Yes.
I feel you. And thinking about it that way, I completely agree. Just wasn't crossing my head. I was just too nervous to really play out that scenario in my mind. But absolutely, they probably should have done that. But ifs and buts, candy and nuts, ball game's over, 7-2.
No doubt.
I think another hot topic the rest of the week is going to be Aaron Glenn and this defense. Now, gave up 38 points. We made them one-dimensional.
We
and they
did.
still just executed. Do you think that's a coaching thing? What do you think the problem is with the defense getting kind of torched and starting late in the second quarter? Really,
Honestly, I don't think our defense has a problem, man. This is the NFL. We played against a offense that is special. They got a special offense, man. Keenan Allen is a special receiver. Austin Eckler is a special dual threat running back. And then they got talented guys around him. Quentin Johnston, I know he hasn't done much this season, but to believe that he will never be anything, I think would be silly. And then they got a bunch of serviceable guys around Herbert, and Herbert is supposed to be like, everyone was selling Herbert as a special quarterback that should be in the conversation with guys like Mahomes and um
Burrow, Allen.
yeah, Burrow, Josh Allen. I was forgetting Josh Allen's first name for some reason, but yeah, those he was supposed to be in a conversation with those guys. So if you talk about him like that, and if he could do it more consistently, because he has his moments where he has special games and then he falls off for a little bit. So when you talk about those guys like that, man, they just made plays, and that's what this NFL is about. These guys are also getting multi-million-dollar deals. These guys are also some of the best in the world. So sometimes guys are going to go out and make plays, and we're going to be in these shootouts. And I just don't understand why Aaron Glenn gets hammered so bad. Now, don't get it wrong. At the beginning of the season, as the season started, there was some issues that I had with them. But now as we settle into this thing and I kind of recognize what our identity is as a defense, I think we did a good job because you still didn't come in and run the ball on us. So we've obviously shown that that's what you're not going to do. Can you make some plays against us in the passing game? You can, but that's a slippery slope too because we got ball hogs everywhere. So I think this Detroit Lions defense is a upgraded version of the Kansas City Chiefs, and I say that because the Kansas City Chiefs have a back end of guys that used to work at Walmart who they've kind of bandaged together, a bunch of young dudes that play decent. They're not great. Where we got ball hawks on our back end. So if you throw that thing around too much, you're gonna have to deal with the Kirby Joseph. You're gonna have to deal with the Cam Sutton and the Jerry Jacobs and the Brian Branches and the Tracy Walkers. Well, we know Tracy will probably he has a little trouble bringing them in, but he'll bat it down at least. But it's tough back there.
I will say I think Kirby Joseph might have had catch of the day if we're being honest.
Nasty,
Toe taps.
nasty man.
My only concern defensively, and you're right about everything. Like sometimes people, you got to reel back and say, this is the NFL. The Detroit Lions are not the only people who have really good skill players. Like, like you just said, the Chargers have some guys. They have, he's kind of getting up there a little bit in age, but Austin Eckler was, he's maybe on the down slope. I don't know, but he's still one of the most versatile backs in the NFL.
No
Keenan
doubt.
Allen is just when he retires, the day he hits 5 years, he's putting on a gold jacket.
Yeah,
He
I
just
think he's
broke the
very
record.
underrated, man.
Yeah, he's second all time in receiving yards for a Chargers, a pretty big time organization who's had some receivers and some quarterbacks come through there. So that's saying something. And sometimes we just got to reel it in and say maybe the other team just has some good players too. But here's my concern. I know that the Chargers had a glaring mismatch on the D line, and we just didn't get pressure on Herbert today. And I know a lot of that is he got rid of the ball super fast, super quick, didn't hold on to it. But I don't know. I just need to see a little bit more from that D line when it comes to known passing situations.
I get it, man, to a certain degree. I think that I did see Hutch getting home a few times, and then Herbert just either the one time he got out the side on him, Hutch just bull rushed the tackle, man, and it was pretty actually disrespectful what he did to him. But then Herbert was able to squeak out the side with Hutch chasing behind him, and he made a throw. I think that one was to Quentin Johnson or Johnston, and then there was a few other times where I seen Hutch get back there, but I feel like our D line problem is Hutch is a man amongst men, right? But in the NFL, you can't do it by yourself. And no one else is stepping up, down in and down out, and just being a dude that another team has to deal with. So you can game plan for Hutch, man. You can have somebody chip him, you can slide the protection to him, you can do things to give him a hard time, or you can just motion the QB protection away from him to give Hutch a hard time. So maybe he'll get back there and maybe he can get his hands on some footballs, but it's going to be tough for him to get sacked. So again, like we talked about in that podcast where we said guys need to step up. Someone on this Detroit D line needs to step up and show why we didn't rush to make a move at the trade deadline. We We're trusting these guys. And I don't think it's James Houston when he comes back. I don't think that that's what this Detroit Lions team is leaning on, because James Houston is ultimately going to be a passing situation, pin your ears back and go rush the quarterback guy. So it needs to be someone who can be down in and down out, whether it's Okora, whether it's John Kaminsky, whether it's Pascal. I mean, someone, Charles Harris, somebody who from the defensive end position needs to get it going and help out Hutch. Otherwise, he's just going to have a quiet year where he gets a lot of pressures and he gets a lot of disruption, but he's never going to get the sack numbers because they're not going to respect anybody else on our D line.
100%. I mean, I could let you go on and on and on, and you're right. He gets the pressures. He's not getting the glory of the sacks because that's the guy you got to watch out for. There really is no other guy. I mean, I know he's not a defensive end, but a Lee McNeil, like, you know, sometimes you show flashes where you look like a really, you know, maybe a top 10 tackle in the league. And then there's sometimes where it's like, I forgot Lee McNeil even played today. But the defense kind of struggled, but I will say who stood out again to me today, Alex Anzalone.
Yeah.
Played very well. He's putting together a very, very good two seasons here in Detroit.
I agree, man. And I wasn't overexcited when we re-signed him to a deal.
Same.
And we did it early. So I was like, hey, I hope we didn't spend monies that we needed to keep to spend elsewhere. But I was wrong, man. I was dead wrong because he's been playing lights out, man. He's been playing great football. I think it's great for Jack Campbell, you know, to learn. They talk about Anzalone a lot as far as his intelligence level and him getting everybody in this defensive position. So I'm just excited we got him. I'm excited that he's playing great, man. And I'm looking forward to the future.
Absolutely. He's played well in the run game, the pass game. He had a pass breakup today. He was stuffing the run. All around good game. Probably the shining light today of the Detroit Lions defense was Alex Anzalone. Probably deserves that defensive game ball, in my opinion. Him or Kirby Joseph. Because Kirby Joseph, that interception was pretty damn nice, and it led to some points, so which we needed. So, real quick, I'm going to see a smile on your face here when we talk about some running backs. Anything to say?
You know it, man. So I joked earlier, and I tell you, at the Detroit Den 313 is probably lucky that things started to slow down just slightly for Jahmyr Gibbs, because I probably would have got on air and just been unbearable. To be 100% transparent, I FaceTimed Steve. I think it was the first quarter or beginning of the second quarter, and was like, "Hey, when we get on tonight, I'm going to be acting a fool." But there's certain things that I see in guys, man, after watching a whole lot of football. I feel like I've watched football my whole entire life, and Jahmyr Gibbs is just different to me. And I think that he is going to be a special running back in the NFL. God willing, he stays healthy. He's going to be around for a long time. He's going to have a special career. And I think he is by far the number one running back in Detroit right now. And that is even after watching David Montgomery have a 75-yard beast of a run, right? Jahmyr Gibbs just does some things a little bit different. And I think the biggest thing that people need to notice is the 3-yard and 2-yard runs where there was nothing there. He finds a way to get skinny and turn his shoulder. He finds the way to make a little juke move. He finds a way to get explosive and just find a little niche to get an extra couple of yards. He's special, man. He found 2, 3, and 4-yard runs where David Montgomery would have got tackled for a 1-yard gain, or maybe even a loss or a no gain. Not taking anything away from Chuck Bruce, David Montgomery, right? He's a beast of a running back, but is there a difference between being a beast and being special? Brad Holmes, you did it. Hey, hats off to you. You proved us all wrong when we were talking about maybe if Bijan was there, because you and I talked about, man, hey, if Bijan's there, we go get Bijan. If Bijan isn't there, maybe we get Gibbs later. You know,
real quick, I will say, defending both of us on this one, we were probably the only two people in the YouTube world who were really like, we like the pick of Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, we're not saying it's a reach. We're not saying it's, you know, out of the question or we reach too much. We're like, this is going to pay off. Like the Detroit Lions didn't have any glaring needs in the first round. Like I've kind of been critical of drafting some pass rushers, but that first round pick, I said, all right, we got that guy. Let's go fix the pass rush and get some depth in other places. But we both liked the Jahmyr Gibbs pick when it first happened.
You know what I'm looking forward to?
The Hall of Fame ceremony that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be at in probably 12 years.
I told you, man. They called earlier, man. They were trying to pull him from the game, man, to get him fitted for that gold jacket. He's like, "Hey, man, guys, like, I'm trying to
the middle of the game here. Come
on, you know." But I'm looking forward to 20 years from now when they do that 30 for 30 on the Detroit Lions, and that Super Bowl run that they made, and that dynasty that they built, that 20-year window, 10-year window, whatever it ends up being, of when we were on top and we turned this thing around. And when Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell really release what their thought processes were and what they were trying to do and what their philosophies were, because I really would like to know what the true thought processes are behind this machine, the villain t-shirts and what we're trying to do with this offense and defense. I can't wait to hear the stories about what this thing really is.
Absolutely. And it's coming. Probably, I'll say the year 2054. That just sounds like a good year to me.
I'm here for it.
End of the day, 7-2. Got some stuff to clean up. Got the Bears next, I believe. Home game against the Bears. We got 2 games next week. We got the Bears and Packers. 2 games within the next 10 days.
Yep.
With the Sunday game and then going into Thanksgiving, 2 winnable games, division opponents. Those games mean a little bit more. I know the Bears and the Packers are a little bit down in the standings right now, but you got to beat up on the division. That's where you handle business first and foremost. So 7-2, we're rolling. Offense looks good. Defense maybe a little adjusting, nothing crazy. It's a good day to be a Lions fan. My nerves are settling down a little bit. I'm gonna ride this high all the way for the next 7 days until we're at Ford Field next week.
Facts, man. I'm with you.
So end of the show, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment down below. We'll have a little discussion about what you guys saw. If we missed anything in today's episode, leave a comment. Let us know. Hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, just think about subscribing. You don't have to. Just let it cross your mind.
Yeah, let it cross your mind. Boop. Peace.